What's up, everybody? It's Mark from 403 Fauna, along with
Jason Radass Designs.
this is the Fauna Topic, where we discuss relevant issues regarding the ball python industry. How was your week, Jason?
It was pretty good. Just working. I played hooky yesterday. Sometimes you need a personal day off.
Yeah.
I've been checking on snakes and fed off a lot of my breeder rodents and kind of got some rodents breeding again and fed some things off and have a female. So that's been interesting. You know, the whole just opening the drawer. What's going on in there? Are you ready yet? There's a lot of that going on right now.
I have my little routines in the morning where I check up on the girls and I shout out, "Girl check." I open up their tubs and see what they're doing. Sometimes they're laying in the front, sometimes they're laying in the back. Even just showing a little bit of belly, I'll take that as a good sign. But things are going great over here as well. And I don't have any ovulations yet. I did have a girl shed this morning, which I'm thinking is a pre-ovulation shed. So I'm crossing my fingers on that because this girl is just showing all the signs. So I think she'll be ovulating soon. And that's going to be a pretty cool combo. She's a pastel, super enchy, orange dream leopard, and she was bred by a hypo clown. So should have some really good double hets in that pairing.
Nice.
Did you have any snakes come in? Ship any snakes out?
Yep, I had 2 snakes arrive from one Steve Morphs. Steve's Morphs. Yeah, I was paying on a girl in like November, I think, and made payments, and it was pretty quick, not an expensive snake. And the weather happened. It was really cold. He's on the East Coast. I've been dealing with lots of snow at work and cold weather, and we just waited it out. And then along the way, as we got closer to what's supposed to be spring now, but I don't know. I figured, well, I'll just add one to the box. You know how that goes. And he had another list of snakes, and one of them was essentially a young adult het DG girl. And I don't have any het DG snakes, and I have a DG male, and I thought, yeah, that kind of makes sense. So she is a really pretty enchy yellow belly het DG that is really close to breeding size. Just needs a little bit of care and love, and crossed with the one male that I have, they could potentially make super stripe DG. So that was the thought there. And she's really pretty. I don't like all enchy snakes. It's not like my favorite gene or anything, but sometimes they look amazing. And this girl is, for the simple combo that she is really pretty.
And she goes super well with Desert Ghost. And
yeah.
I actually got 4 snakes in from Kai at Lucas Land and Royals from the Holdback Rack podcast live auction. And I got a male pastel enchy Desert Ghost het clown. He's really beautiful.
Nice.
And that's going to help with my Desert Ghost clown project. I've got 4 double het girls that I produce that should be ready in 2025. So I needed an extra male to add to that project. I wish there wasn't pastel in there because, well, actually those double het girls don't have pastel, so it's perfectly fine. But I just couldn't pass up that price, man. I've got these snakes that should be like $2,000, and I paid $420 for them, so I couldn't pass that up, and it was just crazy. So what's up,
Very
Soleil?
cool. Very cool. So you like bought like a group off the auction block?
Yeah, I bought 2. That was the first pairs that I got were a 1.1 double het VPI Xanthic Desert Ghost, and I'm working on that pairing this year. So I just figure, I'll have an extra year on that female that I got in a pair. And if I don't produce a male, that male will be the one that I should have in that project. It's a pastel double het VPI Xanthic Desert Ghost. So probably not the most ideal male to have in the project, but if for whatever reason I don't produce the right male, then I will have that guy as a backup. And
Yeah.
I added 2 more because on those auctions, if you reach a certain threshold, shipping is free. And that threshold was $400. And so I got a pair of Desert Ghosts. So the female Desert Ghost is a pinstripe yellow belly Desert Ghost. I love pinstripe and Desert Ghost, and I produced 2 female Desert Ghosts, but my collection is severely lacking in female Desert Ghosts, just like yours. And so that just adds another piece to that puzzle.
Yeah, that sounds like you made a great purchase. I didn't watch that auction. I've seen a lot of the ones that take place there, and I see lots of good deals. And that one sounds great.
Yeah, we gotta. I know our first show was on auctions, but we really gotta dive deeper into auctions because it's so huge and a big part of our industry now. Not only the Morph Market auctions, but the YouTube auctions as well. So probably a future episode we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Any other things you want to add before we move on?
Not really. I think I might switch to, like I had mentioned last week, to like partially like frozen thawed feedings, and I'm just gonna like roll with that and see how that goes. Acquire some more, and I'll still feed live. I like to, but I did this week. But I that's something that I'm transitioning to. I think it'll be interesting, and that's about it. That's about it this week.
Yeah, that's definitely something we'll talk on. I do both as well, but I actually prefer the frozen thawed, but that's something we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Hey, our shout out of the week this week goes to Sam Oriana. I hope I'm saying that name correctly. Unfortunately, he did not have a YouTube or an Instagram. He was able to message me on Instagram to say, hey, I was the guy who won the problem of the week last week. So he has been entered into our drawing at the end of the year for 2 snakes, one from me, one from Jason, and they're going to be bangers, I guarantee.
He didn't send you like a picture, Mark, with just like him and a snake you could have used.
I should have asked, but I didn't. But he did message me, so I'll take that.
All right. Well, good job, Sam, anyways.
What's up, Kike? Okay, so Sam won last week. And remember, on the problem of the week, if you get the correct answer, you will be put in a drawing for 2 snakes at the end of the year. You'll also be shouted out on next week's episode. So without further ado, let's get to our question of the week. They're getting a little bit harder for me to find questions, but I think this one should be a little bit difficult. So guys, get ready out there. First one who types the correct letter in the chat and hasn't won before will be the winner of the contest. So problem of the week. Which one of these is not a ball python morph? A, rain. B, brownback. C, vermilion. Or D, chino? So I looked on Morphopedia on Morph Market to look up some obscure names, and there's 221 morphs listed on Morph Market. So crazy, and I honestly have not heard of 3 out of 4 of these, and one was my made-up one. Okay, and looks like we got a winner. It is Bosa Kike. You are the winner. Nice. Vermilion is not a morph. It's a name I created, which I think is a badass name. If we ever get...
It is. It sounds expensive.
If we ever get a super red ball python, someone name it Vermilion, because that is the color red, a really bright red. So congratulations to Kike. I think everyone knows Kike. Yes. But I will send you that shout out next week, and you are eligible for 2 free snakes at the end of the year. Let me write your name real quick. Congratulations.
Good job, Kike. Good job.
So let's take a look at the rat ass snake of the week.
Yeah, let's do that. So, this snake is pretty rad. There was somebody locally to me months and months and months back, and he was potentially getting out of the critters that he had. He had, I believe, a reddick and geckos and all sorts of stuff. Maybe even a chameleon. Yeah, he had some sort of chameleon. I think a veiled. He had a bunch of different things, and he posted a cage that was had oxidation on it, and you know how cages can get. He took good care of this snake, raised it from a little tiny baby that was purchased from a store in Southern California that a lot of people will know, and took good care of her for a good 2 years at least, and gave her like spring water and misted her cage. She had moss and oh, like a little like a cypress cocoa combo kind of a deal, and different little hides and plants and things. But the cage needed some refreshing. I can tell. She'll bite me in the face right now.
Wow.
she's she's a little feisty. So not a ball python today. Um, she handles pretty good. She's super strong. I've had Brazilian rainbow boas in the past, mostly young ones that I raised up for a while. I've had friends that had pet stores. I worked in pet stores. Went to a lot of shows. Like I came across them. I would buy them and then resell them. I had some that I kept for a while and enjoyed. My buddy had an adult breeding pair. I had another friend that had bred them and would breed them like every other year. And so I've never raised one up all the way. And this girl is like mm, half started, and she eats good. And right now, she's looking kind of dark. She's usually a little bit brighter, a little prettier. And really, rainbow boas are the prettiest, like in outdoor sunlight. They
Yep.
just glow like this is no representation of how iridescent and pretty they are. They look like they have rainbow like oils like coated on them.
Yep.
They're amazing, and they come from Brazil. They have ones in Argentina and Colombia and different ones that aren't quite as colorful as the Brazilian ones. Some are more pink, some are more orange, some are really like really legit like red. And there's hypo ones and albino ones and different ones. She was just too good of a deal. I took that cage and cleaned it up. And it took me a brand new razor blade and all sorts of cleaners and scrubbing and elbow grease and over the course of a weekend, me taking my time with it and then thoroughly rinsing it out so I felt it was like clean enough. It was a little overwhelming at first. Uh, Used to have tons of aquariums, and then it worked out and it looked brand new. Other than like maybe like a nickel sized hole in the top screen that she can't get through. Um, it looks like a brand new cage. And um, recently I took her out of that cage because I was going to do something else with it. Cleaned it again, chose easier this time, and I put her in Freedom Breeder rack in a 70 tub, which she hides all the time anyways. So, part of the reason that I'm showing a non-ball python for snake of the week is because I'm gonna have to thin out some of my collection. I got a lot going on right now and can't really continue to expand or even see through some projects, unfortunately. And that's not the end of the world. I'll find good homes for stuff and I'll simplify some things. And this girl I'm gonna put on Morph Market and run by some people that want to expand and get a boa that will bite you occasionally. It's funny when rosy boas do it, but this girl, yeah, you can feel it a little bit. She'll make you bleed a little bit. But I mean, obviously she's not biting now because there's just a way that you can handle those snakes. He had stopped like handling her over time. And so she's just a little spunky, but she is a good eater and she just needs handling and time and food. And maybe in 2.5 or 3 years from now, when she's really good size and comfortable and established, and somebody gets a male, then live bearing breeding could potentially take place. I was looking at males for a while, but now I'm just going to offer her to somebody that wants in on that kind of a project and species. So that is the snake of the week.
Quick question. For us ball python people, how
hmm
big do they get as far as grams wise?
Honestly, like grams wise, I'm not I don't remember off the top of my head. Like I've read that somewhere. But they are they're bigger than ball pythons. They're like a medium intermediate like size snake. I've seen Brazilian rainbow boas in the like 5.5+ foot range, and they can get like all boas, they can get like really chunky.
Mhm.
And I've seen ones that people set up in either big custom cages or big giant glass cages with like tubs, like essentially like swimming pools. People put lots of moss and they put like lots of branches and some leaves, and then they give them like the swimming pool. And some rainbow boas just really like to be in the water a lot. Maybe some a little bit less. They need a decent humidity, but not anything crazy more than ball pythons. And yeah, like they're just right. They're a species that I've had at times again, like I said, but never like breeding adults. Like when you have one that's like older and really mature, and it just happens to be a really good size female, like they'll get pretty big, and basically right past the amount that of snake size that I really prefer. That's like certain carpet pythons are a little bit smaller, and you start to get to like the coastal ones and McDowellii and stuff. They get quite a bit longer, but some stay smaller. And so they're like in that realm of like just barely a snake species that I sometimes I feel like I could branch out and work with and have like a bigger display snake. And the deal on her was just too good with the cage and everything. And that I took a chance on it. And she's healthy. She's good. And um I just have to move on from some stuff right now. So I thought I'd show it to the audience if someone's interested. And I will be posting her on Morph Market in the next 24 to 48 hours and see how she does. Maybe I'll put her in an auction and just let people bid, decide the price. Um, but yeah, they will get decent size, Mark. And usually when they're older and well taken care of and handled, like they'll be kind of like a blood python in a sense where females will get a little chunky and they'll calm down. So some young blood pythons have this like reputation of being like super feisty and bitey, but there's plenty of large, and they're a little thicker than rainbow boas, of course, but like they can get like puppy dog tame, and it's really cool to see a big carpet python, a big blood python, a big rainbow boa, snake, Argentine like um boa, like different snakes like that are bigger, but tend to reliably be really, really mellow when they're established and older and mature and chunky. So, yeah, 5+ feet, maybe towards 6 feet, for females. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that snake with us. I know
Mm-hmm.
Kike, he has a variety of animals, and he's showing his carpets and bloods and their puppy dog.
Mm-hmm.
So he might be interested. Maybe he'll contact.
Yeah. That little blood that he had was a little bit feisty at first. I remember him putting like a clip on like Instagram where it was like striking out. But like, he's getting more comfortable with it and getting the snake tamed down. And that's what you got to do is just work with your animals. Just constantly move them hand to hand, take them outside, reinforce like positive handling interactions. And most snakes that can be a little feisty will calm down. And then just like people, some are just mean. And there's nothing you can do, but generally you can with skill, time, patience, you can calm most species down really, really well.
Cool. Hey, let's move on to our next subject here,
Hmm.
which is page 1 of Morph Market. So on the Morph Market auctions, just like I predicted last week, once the new month starts, boom, 300 auctions were up. I was wondering, what do you think would be the best time to post an auction? At the beginning of the month when you're competing with 300, 400 other people? Maybe at the middle of the month when that second paycheck comes in? Or towards
I
the end of the month? Is there anything in particular
I
you think?
think I like middle-ish of the month. Let a few things be rushed out and posted, and then go ahead and throw your hat in there. Anywhere between like the 10th and the 20th is probably a little bit more visible. But I more so think the importance of how you place your ad is just pictures, offering something that is interesting and unique and not just a regular thing. That helps. And the time of day that you post it, I think, is almost the most important part as far as the timing of people having that last glimpse of it and seeing it. So like late morning and very late evening, people will stay up a little bit to look at something, maybe in that kind of a strategic time frame where some people will go to bed real early and some people will stay up pretty late, and you kind of get it right in the middle there, maybe like 10 p.m., 10:30, 11 p.m. I feel like is a pretty good time frame, and then late morning is also pretty good. That I look at it like that. Um, I honestly, for the first time in like the last couple weeks, have like well, not so much the first time, but like compared to normal, the last couple weeks, I haven't looked at Morph Market auctions at all. Which is very unlike me because I'm very addicted to it. It's fun to watch, even if you're not going to get something. Ooh, look at that snake.
That is a
You
DG
know, that's
enhancer,
awesome. Oh, wow.
Lord of Lion.
Look at where they have come, Mark. 18 months ago, that snake was like unattainable for most people. Now, you could probably work out some sort of partial trade, some sort of payment plan with a big chunk of the money down, and boom, skipped years ahead. That's pretty cool. I like the way that snake looks.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful one.
It's got like a
Enhancer.
neat.
People will argue Enhancer is better than Desert Ghost. And one of our subject, or our main subject today, is going to be on talking about different morphs and the competition that occurs between them.
Mhm.
And last week there was a big controversy on Monarch versus Ultramel. So
Yes.
let me
It
pull
seems
up.
to it seems to have been going on like almost each week for like the last like month plus. Like
Yeah, it's
somebody keeps reviving it. Maybe the last month and a half, there's just another video, another YouTube episode. Just when you think like, oh, let the dust settle a little bit, it's like sparking back up and everybody's chiming in. And it is an interesting debate. It really is. I've chimed in on it, and I own I own some of each. I own one pastel Ultramel girl, and she's pretty cool. And they both do cool stuff. They both do
Pastel
cool stuff.
Monarch, right? You said Ultramel.
Well, I have a pastel Ultramel
Ah,
female
okay.
that I had put a pastel sunset male in with, and they were cuddling like they were like high school sweethearts, like after college, just cuddling up on the couch, like. And they, at some point, I had to finally separate them, and she's just not laying eggs yet. There's not no rhyme or reason to it. They got along great, but she's really pretty, and I like her. And yeah, and then I have a regular monarch female that's like pretty much one of my very favorite snakes, and a pastel monarch breeder male. And both genes do cool stuff. I just happen to like the contrast with Monarch. I've seen more Monarchs that just kind of like are just striking to me, and I've seen some really pretty Ultramels with different genes in them. There's still a lot to be done with them, and I think pastel works pretty good in Ultramel, and there's lots of things you can do with that. Ultramel clowns, they look cool. All sorts of stuff. But I feel like overall you break it down to just you have the base gene and you have them next to each other. Let's say you lined up 20, 25 of each, and you just lined them all up at different sizes. There's some variances in both genes. And you have them in two separate like little piles, like two little armies. And you look at one and the other. The argument that people would say that the ultra males are prettier is it doesn't really totally, to each their own, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I just don't buy it. Like the monarchs are more contrasty, darker, richer. I just, they're very similar. I just think that they're a little bit prettier. And all these different combinations that are going to come out over the years and have already started to come out change that, because you got so much else at play.
Yeah, me personally, I do have Ultramel. The Ultramel clown is one of my big projects over here, and mainly it's a price thing. When I was looking into that, back then monarchs were super crazy. They've gone down a little bit now, and of course the hets are affordable as well. But personally, from what I have seen, even though I am Team Ultramel, if I had a choice now and prices were equal, I would go Monarch. I think Monarch personally just looks better than Ultramel. Like you said, the contrast is there. I kind of want to get into this Austin versus Justin controversy here because previously, there's always been comparisons between morphs. People talk bad about if you're on team hypo, maybe people make hypo versus desert ghost a thing. I don't know why, but puzzle krypton is a thing. Monarch Ultramel. There's always got to be a versus, and I
Mm,
don't understand why because they're all beautiful in their own right, and every person is different and we choose what we like. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, like you mentioned. And it kind of boiled over with this past week when Austin went on Keys Constrictors, Hair Down Friday, and he basically accused Justin of doctoring his videos to make Monarch look better than Ultramel. And he went to the mutation creation facility. He showed off some beautiful Ultramels, and but the fact that he's accusing Justin of doctoring his videos, I don't think people understood the gravity of the situation. This went beyond just a Ultramel versus Monarch fun thing. And then, of course, they went live on MJ's and talked about it. And I was watching that and I was kind of squirming in my seat. I don't know if other people felt that way, but it was like they put Justin on the spotlight and said, "Are you doctoring your videos?" And Justin went on to say that, yeah, in the video, it didn't look like it does in real life. And Austin took that as a victory. And he said, "Yeah, you were wrong, Justin." And I just felt so bad for Justin because I don't think Justin was going out of his way to do that, to doctor the video to make one look better than the other. I do
Mhm.
YouTube videos. I was watching Royal Constrictor Designs video today, and he was showing a candy, and just like moving his camera made the candy color change from like a really bright yellow to more purples. And I don't think there was any doctoring going on that video.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Garrick's videos over the years, and the lighting in his main reptile facility. He has a couple of them, and in his main one where he does his videos, like the lighting on the cart, and he gets the snakes
Mhm.
and he brings them over, like it changes. You can pretty much see it in almost every single video that he does, whether it's short or whether it's long, where like he'll be showing, an impressive like group of candy pieds and then albino pieds and GHI this and that and like lots of different stuff. He's got all sorts of fun things that he has created and plays with. And he shows different directions that he's taken projects. And it's a lot of them are kind of fun. And he'll show like these batches of these clutches of snakes, and you'll see he'll have them off, and then he'll like bring one and he'll like show it, rotate it a little bit. One will start getting away and he'll grab it, and you'll see the lighting change the snake and have it go from pretty to like whoa and electric.
Yeah.
And it's people got to understand that the way camera lenses work is different. There's white balances, and there's different lenses, and there's different lighting that affects everything. That's different UV spectrums, and LEDs and incandescents and all these different things that affect stuff. Taking a snake and bringing it outside and showing it with a really nice camera is usually a good way to get a little bit of a truer sense of how something looks. But especially if you use like a light diffuser. But yeah, it's funny when things get taken a little bit out of proportion or out of context. Justin has an amazing collection, and he's had a lot of, you know, visitors to his facility, and everybody loves what they see. And he has a nice eye for stuff. He buys nice stuff and has made lots of beautiful snakes. I mean, that just goes without saying. And sometimes the lighting's gonna be to make them look really, really good. And that's fine. That's helpful to the hobby, really, all the excitement and the buzz that he creates when he drops a video. Um is really something that everyone should credit him for. And I don't know. I feel bad because you mentioned it to me. I got so much. I'm sorry, everyone. I got so much. I'm sidetracked in my life right now, and social media and the online ball python world. A little bit. My thumb is not on the pulse of it the last 3 weeks. I'm catching stuff here and there, a little bit, and fitting some stuff in. But you told me about the video. It sounded juicy and interesting. I had it all queued up and ready to watch, and I had something come up, something I had to deal with. I didn't watch it that night, and I didn't watch it today. And so I can't say how I feel about how I perceive people's like possible intentions or attitude or what was the context they put it in. And um, but Canadians will do anything for a win. This is America. And they got good maple syrup and they get to watch the aurora borealis in certain places, and that's pretty awesome. I've never had poutine before, but they rave about that. But sometimes people just spark up, rustle some ruffle some feathers and spark up a little bit of controversy when really mean there's no like mean spiritedness to it. They're just showboating a little bit maybe, or they're just trying to drum up interest and create a story. Um, Different stuff, I will go watch both those videos and develop a sense of like, wow, what is going on here, like what was really meant there, and see, and then I'll form a better, clearer opinion on it. Um, but yeah, there's gonna be people online that post on Instagram, or like sometimes I use PixArt and do some little editing and some little stuff, and sometimes without any editing for a picture that I'm just having fun and just sharing hobby stuff. Like sometimes, with nothing, you can reposition a snake, you can reposition a light, you can snap a different photo, a whole series of them, and snakes look a little bit different in each one. So can you get the best out of it? Can you capture? I mean, that's the whole point of photography and video, is to get the viewer to like see through your eyes and like frame things nice. So it's especially artistic and visual, and you make it look as nice as you can. That's really kind of the idea of what you're trying to do when you film and photograph stuff. I was a video cameraman for the cable company for sports when I was quite young, for 5 years, and I did a really great job of like capturing different sports moments and
Mhm.
being like fluid, and like there's people watching it on TV. There's things that you got to do, and to make it look nicer. And photography has come a long ways. It has a lot of technology now. Now we got like AI and all sorts of stuff where sometimes you wonder if something's even real when you're looking at it. It's
Ooh.
a crazy technological age that we're in right now. But so what? We all pretty much know what Ultramels and Monarchs look like. And in the different combos, it's fun to see other ways that they can look that we're not used to. And you know how genes work. You mix stuff up, like Justin in the lab. Sometimes you'll have surprises. And I think both genes mixed up with different other stuff and different fun, challenging long-term, combos will both do neat stuff. And I don't think Justin needs to try to mislead or deceive anybody with any of the very well crafted and polished videos or photos that he puts online. I don't think he's trying to do that. I don't think he's worried about that. I don't think too many other people are really concerned with it either, honestly, I would imagine.
Yeah, I went to at lunch to watch Justin's latest video today, which I saw that in the morning was supposed to be on hurricane clowns. And when
Mm.
I went to his site, I saw it wasn't there. I don't know whether it was the filter from my school. If anyone in the chat was able to watch that video, let me know that it was there, because
Hmm.
when I saw that it wasn't there, it kind of made me think, Justin's kind of had a couple bad weeks here on his videos. Did he not
He's
premiere his hurricane clown video or what? There's no
he,
controversy there, is there? Well,
no.
Blitz,
He's been in the news a little bit lately, and so is Donald Trump. Like sometimes it's good to be in the spotlight, and I don't view him in any kind of negative light, and I'm not saying that he's doing anything wrong or any kind of negative controversy other than renaming like sort of unofficially, but making it seem like it was officially renaming a snake with a friend of his, and essentially like business ally, renaming a gene and blasting that publicly will make mixed impressions. That was kind of interesting and surprising, and I think like a little bit um out of character, but like no big deal there. Like, well, I think it should have had that name. But like, yeah, it's the Ultramel and Monarch debate is gonna apparently continue to go on. But you get a baby female Ultramel off Morph Market. You can get one for like at the right timing, like $200, and maybe
Mhm.
even a little bit less. And a female Monarch has held value pretty well. Like a year ago, a guy that I got a het from, a Mojave het Monarch proven breeder female. He was trying to make uh, GHI Mojave Monarchs. So he had like a GHI Het Monarch, and then he had a Mojave Het Monarch. I think he had like a couple pairs of them, and he didn't hit it. And then he ended up getting ready to move, and he placed a bunch of snakes. He had great deals on 66% Het Monarch babies. Like I wish I had bought more at that time. One was really pretty, a GHI like male. I think he had like a pastel female too, and super good prices. And his prices kept getting lower and lower as the market was dipping a bit. And then he was moving, and he just wanted to like get rid of everything that wasn't his favorite breeder snakes, essentially. And I had bought a pied from him, and she's really pretty. I've showed her on here before. She's real healthy, really unique, and I really like her a lot. But he had hatched a Mojave Monarch.
Ooh.
Some people will say like, oh, like that's maybe not the route to go with the contrast and the different stuff, but that's gonna be a cool snake when it grows up. And he had lowered the price and lowered the price. I think he sold one of them. Maybe he had two. I think he sold one for like 3,100, and then he had one that right when he just wanted money to move and stuff and just get some things wrapped up and hurry up and get some snake shipped. He put $2,000 on a really well started young female Mojave Monarch. And I wanted that snake so bad. I love the Monarch gene. It holds nice looks for a long time, and I just like it a lot. And that would have been a fun snake. And I've seen different Mojave Monarchs, and they vary a little bit from each other, from the ones I've seen. But that was like the best price I'd seen on a female in the time frame of the 2 years that I've been back in the hobby. So they
Yeah.
were like in the 35 4K range when I got in the hobby again. And then when I noticed them, I saw some really, really especially nice looking specimens. Like I remember this one guy, I haven't really talked to him much. 101 ball pythons.
Mhm.
I don't know if his name's Chris or
Chris
not.
Searcy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I only spoken with him once. He posted an adult, like essentially ready to breed adult male, like real close, monarch, and I believe it was just standalone, and it was just he took outdoor pictures, and that snake was so pretty. It was so nice looking. It looks so robust and healthy, and it's like whoever got that snake for $3,500, unless they got a slight deal or something from that, but that's what it was posted for. Man, that snake you can just tell is going to be a good breeder. And it just looked great. One of the better examples that I had seen where you see one and you're like, yeah, I like that one. It had like the white coming up around the alien heads and different things. It's just great looking. and they kind of bounce back up in price. So a lot of these morphs that we've seen, like you just showed, Desert Ghost Clown, or what was that, an enhancer clown? That's even harder to get in America. Like I wanted one of those so bad. I just a straight standalone enhancer female baby and raise it up and see the difference between DG with my own eyes in person and most of the adult enhancer snakes that I've seen, man, they look great. Really blushed out, really colorful, a little bit different than DG, but with that same like excitement of a like a really especially neat look. And but Monarch has held its value pretty good, and it's starting to, yeah, dip now with everything else. But I would say, other than the crazy hard to get, no one can get, they're like 5-figure jeans to try to get ahead of the curve. Other than that, and some of the overpriced things like Stranger was really overpriced for a while, in my opinion. Now it's
Mhm.
becoming attainable, and it's gonna be really fun for people to work with. But like Monarch, the gene has held its value, I feel, better than any other gene in the 2 years that I've been back in the hobby. And it just so happens to be the gene that I think is the prettiest standalone. And so I probably should have invested in more of them, but it was tough to find good deals on one. The adult female I bought was very expensive. And she hasn't popped out eggs for me. If she had that, every like my whole collection would be paid off by now. But I really like the gene a lot, and that's gonna appeal to some people too. And Ultramels, you can kind of find them anywhere, and they're also pretty and also going to do cool stuff. But to me, they haven't held the value at all. Whatever they held just evaporated, like everything else has taken a hit in the ball python stock market. But yeah, you'll find some good deals. Like I think Aaron just mentioned Troy, Best Dressed Balls. He's always giving people good deals and being friendly and helping people out, and that's where I got my mail. He gave me a great deal on him, and that guy had been around, and he did some pairing for me, and I'm just kind of waiting on it. Hopefully, some of those things will pay off. But there are people in this hobby that aren't just all about the money. Even if they have to like pay tons of bills and they have to go on to all these shows and essentially break even if they make 5 figures, they got people they got to pay, they got things they could be, their time's valuable, They're, not everybody is doing it, making the profit like Bob's Balls and, Justin and Ozzy and bigger name people like um so some people will do you a solid. In my time in the hobby before, I gave away all sorts of little critters to people and did people favors, and they did me favors. And that's part of what the true enjoyment of the ball python area of the hobby and other, hundreds and thousands of different species of reptiles that are in captivity. um that there's a lot of people that will help you get involved with stuff and aren't greedy about it and just want somebody to be happy with what it is that they created. And yeah, you can always find a deal on something. You were just telling us about a deal that you got in an auction. It sounds great. You got some cool snakes. I mean, remember how hard it was to get like female DGs like
Mhm.
a year and a half ago, 2 years ago was starting to pick up. Like, man, nobody really even wanted to sell them for a crazy amount of money. They just wanted to hold them back and then like breed them so they can make more.
I
And
rem-
and
I remember
yeah.
back then I was like a hawk on Morph Market looking at the females, and as soon as one was posted, boom, it was gone. So
Cacao!
well, we know
Would you?
Monarch is in your eyes is one of the most beautiful ball pythons. I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that Monarch Mojave because I do have a Mojave Ultramel, which I think is a really pretty snake, and I
Yeah.
kind of want to compare that. But hey,
Yeah, that snake is that you made is really pretty. Hey, Jamie.
since we're here,
You were saying, Mark? You were saying?
yeah, since we're here talking about our favorite morphs, we know Monarch is one of yours. I want to share with you some of my favorite morphs,
Yeah.
and I'll have you share yours, and then we'll talk a little bit about morphs that will not be on our racks as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for me personally, morphs you love or hate, I love puzzle. Puzzle is gonna be a big part of my direction going forward. I've got the Axanthic puzzle project going. I just sent some sheds off to Gray Rider Reptile. Shout out to Charlie. And if you had a chance to catch my video, the shed video, I have two female puzzles. They're both 66% possible. Sorry. They're both 66% possible het for VPI Xanthic, and one of them
Right.
looks so dramatically brighter than the other that
Yeah.
that's got to be some het influence going on there. But yeah, puzzles is one of my favorites going forward. I just love how it tricks the pattern out. They do have a little bit of spicy attitude to them, but
Mm.
it's nothing that's to be afraid of at all. Especially once they get a little bit older, they're like any ball python; they'll get puppy dog tame. Desert Ghost is a big part of my projects as well. I know in ever since the Desert Ghost shed test controversy, the popularity of it has kind of waned down a little bit. And once they used to be so expensive, now you can get them for super duper cheap. And I see a lot of people talking bad about Desert Ghost, just like any other morph, but it's going to be something that I work with. And of course, Clown is king, even though it seems like everything has been done with Clown. Um, with 221 morphs out there, the combos are endless. There's still
Yeah.
with Clown. And as far as my incomplete dominance that I really love, Lace. It's funny because I was watching Warful's Morphs live and DTMG Pythons was on there. I believe it was one of his auctions, and he was just bad mouthing the Lace so bad. It made me question, like, am I loving the right gene here? But he's kind of right in that Lace is hard to tell when it's younger. But man, once they get like 500-600 grams, boom, you could really see that difference. So I could see why Lace can be a hard sell. You put those up on Morph Market, those babies, and it might be a little bit of hard sell because you got to see them in person, basically. Yellow
Yeah.
belly, it brings a lot of pop to everything, even though the super is not something you want to work towards. I think out of the yellow belly complex, yellow belly in combinations is the best out of those. Just strictly, we're talking single genes here. And Calico was one of the remnants from when I was previously in the hobby, and I kept it around, and it's something that I really want to work towards. And I could throw up a bunch of stuff here, but I thought those were the three on each side that I personally really love. Now we know you love Monarch. Is there
Mm-hmm.
others in your collection, or you want to add to your collection that you really love?
Yeah, I mean, I got like that one Desert Ghost male, and he's so cool looking to be black pastel, and then and Desert Ghost. Like, I have a black pastel little female, and she's like really pretty, and they say there's different versions of chocolate and different versions of black pastel, and there's ones that have probably been in this hobby and then have already disappeared. But like she's really, really pretty, and she's growing a little slow. She's healthy, but she's growing a little slow, and she's just, man, she's so pretty. But when you look at it in Desert Ghost, and yeah, he has like Spectre, and potentially he could be Het Cryptic and things. There's some influence there. He's especially nice looking, in my opinion. But it's almost like a totally different snake than a regular, really nice looking black pastel. And it's crazy. I understand the hype. When you really think about it, Mark, then Desert Ghost has been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how people didn't notice how great it looked so long ago, and we're so worried about the name and the different things, and it's odd to me, because when you see most, not all, but like most, the majority of desert ghost snakes, especially with other little genes and things in them, like man, they're just really striking. It really cleans stuff up, and some look better than others, and some genes look better in Desert Ghost than others so far. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Desert Ghost. It was a really strange little polygenic, polymorphic kind of thing that came about. It's like, what? But it's a great gene. I haven't noticed or really heard people say that there's any, health issues with it, deformities, any kind of like bottlenecking. Like it's a pretty healthy gene. And the only thing about it though is maybe maybe cryptic will pop out in it if you want it or not. And maybe caramel albino is floating deep in the recesses of its family tree and somehow pops up, every once in a while. You breed a whole bunch of desert ghosts, you do some different projects. You might have a caramel albino pop up. Like Aaron's, in the chat tonight, he had that happen just randomly, and that snake is a desert ghost caramel albino, and yeah, I believe he sold it to somebody. It was really pretty. It was really neat. It's unfortunate that pretty much most of the experiences with that gene, and you try to multiply it, it doesn't go very well, like trying to make super black pastels or something. But they are pretty snakes. They have really unique eyes, and but ultimately, I guess I'm saying I really like Desert Ghost, and I'm also a fan of Calico, and not all calicos are created equal either. Like there's sugar, there's calico, there's probably been some other things that have been in the hobby at times from imports and things that have had white speckling on them as well. But like both of those are very variable. And I've seen calicos, and everybody likes the ones that are just mega high white. And they can be like really striking, but in a different way than like how a piebald is so white. And certain sugars do, they almost, you can almost sometimes tell the difference between a calico and a sugar, but like sometimes calicos and sometimes sugars, whether you combine them with other genes or not, for whatever reason, don't display a lot of white speckling, and it's very, very mild. And then in other occasions, with or without other genes stacked, they'll just be like amazing. And then there's certain genes that you mix them with, like Bell complex stuff. I know you've seen that happen before. Like you also sort of, you get a creaminess on the sides and you get a lot of blending, but you don't really get white flecking. And so there's fun different things you can do with calico and sugar, and I like them too. I got one of the snakes that I got, that I mentioned earlier, is a highway female, a proven breeder, highway female from Steve's Morphs, and I got to see the combination of those yellow belly complex genes. I don't have much from that complex in my collection, and so I thought that would be cool to get a proven breeder at a crazy good price, and I just had to be patient. And I was checking her out. That was was that yesterday? Went to FedEx and got her, and she's like super friendly. And sometimes you never know, but oh my God, is she like adorable and friendly? And yeah, well, I like the yellow belly complex stuff. I like gravel a lot. Um, and people really love asphalt, but it's all fun and makes like really neat snakes. So I like all those too. Other than that, that's not on the list that I just love, and it seems just so simple, Mark, is just straight up Mojave. Like I
Hmm.
really like Mojave ball pythons, and I like bells, and Mojaves make really nice bells in combination with different stuff. And yeah, a lot of Mojave in my collection, so I'd have to include that on this list as well.
I'm a big Mojave fan too. It's my favorite bell complex. And yeah, that gray head it has as the super, it's really cool. Yeah, I'll
Hmm.
let you start off. Is there any morphs that you absolutely do not want to have in your rack?
Well, in the past on here, this is episode 11. Thank you everyone for joining me, viewing. um, yeah, like I when I absorbed someone else's collection, I got a banana spider, and it was like kind of pretty, kind of striking, kind of neat looking. Had some wild like calico type stuff going up on the sides. I don't believe it had calico in it, but it was an awesome looking snake, and he didn't have much wobble. And then when I sent him away, he seemed to have like a little bit more noticeable wobble when he had like virtually none. Like he's a really good eater, and I think I put him up for like $100, something like that. Somebody in Northern California said they take really good care of him, and they just liked how he looked, and it's a fair price, and they were going to give him assured me they'd give him a good home, and it worked out, and I sent him to them. I I find that some spiders are really unique looking. I'm not like hating on anyone that has it. I've joked with some breeders. I've joked at shows and people and just been like, oh, you should probably get rid of all your spider stuff. You should probably work on that and thin that out but because people would say how the devaluing it can be when included in gene stacked animals. But some spiders are really unique and really, really nice looking, and you can't make a snake you like that looks like that like any other way. And so sometimes I'll see a snake that's just so awesome looking, and it's got spider in it, and then I have to pass, but I'll check it out. I'll look at it. I'll enjoy it. I just don't believe like ethically we should be recreating those, and but I'm not upset that people do. Really, I just want all these genes in the ball python hobby to like hold strong. I don't want things to get too bottlenecked. When sometimes with animals, you mix all these genes, right? We're all having fun in this laboratory, this hobby right now, and it is fun and it is colorful and it is neat, but something people don't always think about is that each gene mutation, whether it's in a human, whether it's in a dog, whether it's in a snake, I've seen leucistic deers on like Instagram, people taking pictures. There's like been, I think somebody showed a piebald shark the other day on YouTube and said that they like four have been spotted before or something like that. And I was like, what, for real? You know, I think that each gene mutation in each animal, something wired different. Something happened, something like went off, veered an evolutionary way or in a deformity type of way, or something didn't, match up quite as planned. And there's usually a detrimental effect of some point. So the reason why it's taken so long for so many different species to have these different morphs that we can play with is because those animals got picked off in the wild. You mentioned hawks. Hawks and birds of prey and all sorts of animals in Africa, or we're talking like hyena type creatures and whatnot. Like um yeah, I feel like there's hidden traits, and this has been like noticed and lots of different species and that have been captive bred in this hobby for decades and decades and decades. Certain genes that'll be really cool looking and people are excited about it. Look at this is different. Don't do very well. And they just go off into obscurity. They basically just get phased out, like the desert gene in ball pythons, like other looks of wild caught or captive hatch ball pythons that came to America, and it was like, oh, that's something different. There's something there, but it was never reproducible. And but a lot of times when we get those kinds of things, there's an abnormality and there's a hidden quirk. Albinos of anything, albino ball pythons, albino leopard geckos, albino bear, anything, it's going to be more light sensitive in its eyes and the lenses, and that affects it. So, sometimes there's there's things to consider with that. And then for whatever reason, the quirk with spider is that they're a little bit off. Some people say it's an ear thing, some people say it's a neurological thing. Like, I don't know 100%. I can't tell you, but I don't keep that gene. So that would be like number one on my list. Um,
Agreed.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
funny because I say I wouldn't have spider, but there were a couple of times where I almost had it in my collection. There was one where someone had a spider red stripe puzzle male, and because it had spider, it was significantly cheaper than the other puzzles at the time. And that was before I got my puzzle male, and I wanted to add puzzle to my collection. And man, I was this close to adding
Mm,
that, but the spider just stopped me from doing it. Another time
yeah.
was, yeah,
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Another time, I think I mentioned this a show or two ago, was when Nixon Reptiles, Brandon had that
Hmm.
spider double het monsoon desert ghost up for auction, and I bid it up to like 700, and that was my threshold right there. But if I won that auction, I would have had spider in my collection at that time too.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's the route you have to take. You have to take this longer odds and throw the dice against, the back of the table. And sometimes you get lucky with that. It's funny how genes work and how the slot machine works. Like sometimes you could breed, something with spider to another animal and have like maybe one spider or no spiders pop out. And you could even have a tendency where they don't throw spider very often. Or some people have reported, oh my God, no matter how many times I breed this male to other snakes, it's just like it's almost like all spiders. I'm just creating like a arachnophobia farm here. But yeah, it's I don't want to like beat up on it too much. It is a neat looking gene. It's just not for me. I want to see ball pythons be healthy and not affected so much by all this like genetic stuff that we're doing. And some genes are just really, really hardy. Back in the day, what a lot of people do is purposely outcross, not so much because like, oh, they really wanted to make some money and make more of these different genes and whatever species it was that they were working with. King snakes, corn snakes, whatever. And they would outcross. They would purposely, breed away from something to a really healthy or really unique specimen, and then hold all those babies back and then cross, double heads. And when you do that, it's pretty much like it's pretty reliable that the morphs that then pop out of that kind of, dice roll are healthier than trying to, breed a gene to a gene or a gene to a het. And that's what some people have done with weaker genes to bring some strength back to them. It used to take place all the time. Now, in the ball python world, people don't want to do too much of that because we have so much byproduct, and unless you're going to slightly controversially like feed off ball python hatchlings as like feeders to king snakes and cobras and different things, monitors like that. That's a touchy topic and something that, hurts people's feelings, and I get it. And but we have to be careful with this mass producing that all this influx of attention in the hobby and extra, propagation is creating that kind of a thing. So, but yeah, long story short, spider. Um,
Any recessives you wouldn't add?
yeah, like albino is not my favorite, but I got one in the collection that I'd taken on um last year, and it was a really pretty, really healthy albino female. And she was chocolate and black pastel also. So she
Hmm.
was very contrasty and very like neat looking and pretty friendly, a pretty good eater. And looking back on it, I kind of wished I had kept her, but I had to like thin some stuff out. And but I essentially that's my little Chihuahua morph. Jinx. Yeah, like albino is not something really that I'm fond of, although I have seen some cool ones. But when I was in the hobby before and I watched I had ball pythons here and there, that pretty much was one of the main things that you could attain. That was super expensive, but like it was attainable, like a couple grand. And like they when that's all, like for the most part, there was other stuff, but when that's all there is, that's like, that's usually the first gene that pops out when you work with a different species, whether it's a lizard or whatever. Usually what tends to be something that pops out from continuous like line breeding and propagation of something is like albinos,
Mhm.
and to a lesser extent like leucistic animals, just being all white, and hypomelanism, and hypermelanism, essentially like melanistic, like black animals.
Right.
That's usually the first things that start to occur when you do a lot of captive breeding. Those are some of the things that pop out. And yeah, albino, not my favorite.
You know what? You touched on two of the exact ones that had on my list: the spider and the albino. So I'm not going to expand further on that.
Yeah.
But hey, I think we've had a great show, and thank you so much, Jason, as usual, for
Yeah.
coming on and giving us your
Yeah.
knowledge.
It was a nice mellow time today. Sorry I didn't do my homework and watch those videos, but I definitely will. And I'll determine like what, from what I see, what that was about. But people will razz each other and bicker about different things, and it just when it really comes down to it, work with what you love. Both me and you have all sorts of fun projects and snakes, and um, I'm gonna thin some stuff out. That's why I showed the snake that I did today. And there's probably a couple projects that I will cut just to really streamline some things, and but yeah, we both have snakes that we care about, that some of them we name, and we value them, and we take good care of them, and that's what I suggest everybody else to do. It's like work with the animals that you love, whether it's a chihuahua or a ball python or a rodent, or whatever it is, and enjoy it, take good care of it, be a good keeper, have good husbandry, and don't worry so much about all the other talk. You know what I'm saying? So nice mellow show. I appreciate it as always, Mark. Thank you for putting this on. Thank you everybody that tuned in, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. See you later. See you next Friday. Bye.